All right. Good morning and welcome to another Digital Service Squad webinar. My name is Ben Frisch, the Simcoe South Georgian Bay Digital Service Squad team lead, and welcome Rochelle Reynolds joining us from our team as well. And today is our intro to Facebook Ads Manager. So I wanted to get started like right on the dot today, or pretty close, because it's going to be a pretty intense webinar. I mean, I don't want to scare anyone off, but I want to cover as much of Ads Manager as possible. It's a pretty extensive component to Facebook, and I don't want to leave too much out. I want to try and cover as many bases. And so we'll be a little technical. I'm going to show you actually how to set up an ad, and hopefully you can follow along and ask some questions along the way. So just a little bit of housekeeping as per usual. The Digital Main Street program is, of course, brought to you by FedDev Ontario, the Ontario government, as well as the Ontario BIA Association, the Toronto Association of BIAs. And here specifically in Simcoe, South Georgian Bay, the program is managed by the Small Business Enterprise Center of South Georgian Bay. It is also funded with additional funding in our area from the County of Simcoe, the Town of Collingwood, and the Town of Blue Mountains. And of course, we're super grateful for their support, and that's what makes all of this possible, to be free to all of you, as well as the consultations and support that is still ongoing from your digital service squad. We will be around at least until the end of February for now. So definitely, if you have not booked a consult with your digital service squad, I highly recommend that you do take advantage of the services that we can provide. If you have additional questions about today's webinar, that's a great reason for a consult. We can sit down with you one-on-one and take you through this very same process. So you can register your business at Digital Main Street to access other programs, as well as the training material that's there. And you can book that consult with us at enterprisecenter.ca/digital service squad. And of course, find us and follow us on Instagram, Facebook at SBEC, Simcoe. What does it stand for? South Georgian Bay Small Business Enterprise Center. It's a lengthy acronym. And you can always reach us at digitalmainst@collingwood.ca. And there's our number there. If you want to jot it down, you can call us anytime for any support. So we are available for, as I said, one-on-one supports, and digital audits are really popular. We're cranking them out. We're providing extensive reports on how you can improve your digital footprint. So definitely take advantage of that while we are here. And as we jump into our topic today, just a reminder, I know last week we maybe lost a few people along the way because it was probably quite technical. It was really in depth. And I'm going to take a different approach, less focused on the videos, and we're just going to share my screen and dive right in. And so all that to say, if you're feeling stuck or, not able to follow along, definitely ask some questions, drop them in the Q&A, and we'll happily, hopefully bring you up to speed and answer any questions as we go. So today's topic, of course, what you're here for, what is Facebook Ads Manager? If you're not familiar with this part of Facebook, Ads Manager essentially is just your starting point for running ads on Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, or Audience Network. You might not even have heard of some of these placements, but that's basically the expanse of where you can show your ads. It's an all-in-one tool for creating ads, managing when and where they'll run, and tracking how well your campaigns are performing. So basically, I mean, if you have been in the past boosting posts, this gives you so much more flexibility, so much more control over your ad spend, and it's far more effective just at the end of the day. So if you can see this graphic that we've got up, this is just an example of some of that, the control or the options that you have. When you create a new campaign, you can set your objectives. So is it an awareness campaign? So are you looking to build brand awareness or reach? Is it a consideration campaign? So you're looking to drive traffic, engagement, app installs, video views, lead generation, which is a really awesome selection to make. And that one's the one we're going to walk you through today. And I'll talk about that in a second, but you can drive messages as well as conversions. So are you selling things? You want catalog sales, store traffic? That's the great thing about using Ads Manager. It kind of forces you to think about your intent, which makes for better advertising, just all around. And going back to the lead generation, we talked about, should we walk people through a lead generation ad or a sales ad? And we decided to walk through the lead generation ad for a couple of reasons. I mean, we found, based on our audience or people that would be joining us today, it looked like there was maybe a split between service providers and retailers. So the lead generation, I mean, it's obviously more appropriate potentially for service providers. But I'll try and, make it, give a generic overview too, so that if you are a retailer looking to sell products, you're still going to get a really solid base. Plus, next week, just to plug our next webinar coming up, we are going to be talking about setting up a Facebook shop. And so we're going to touch on advertising those products in that webinar as well a little bit. So that's another reason why we decided to do a lead generation campaign today. So moving right along. So the question is, who is Ads Manager for? So basically, I mean, as I said before, if you're just boosting posts and but you're at a point where you want to manage, multiple ongoing ads or campaigns, you want ads with more purpose to them. As I said, have that conversion or that lead generation kind of objective. Because again, when you just boost a post, you're basically just doing an awareness campaign. You're not necessarily using the tools available to have that to drive more intent to either sell products or get more likes on your page. There's so many options when it comes to creating your ads. So you can also create custom audiences. That's really cool. We're going to touch on it a little bit today, but that's kind of a whole other lesson, I would say, in terms of what you can do there. And what I mean by that is using pixel tracking, using conversion tracking. These can be a little bit technical to set up. if you want more control over your ad spend, if you want to try testing various ads and optimizing them for best performance. So essentially, you know, it's in the industry, it's usually referred to as A/B testing, where you put two very similar ads out to either the same market, or maybe you're testing the audience, and you change like one thing about them, see which one's performing better, shut down the one that's not performing as well, and then you keep doing the same thing, split it off, change one thing, see which is performing better, and just keep plugging away, making it as best as it can be. So if you answered yes to any of those questions, then Ads Manager could be a very good option for you to advertise your Facebook page and or products, business, whatever. So actually, that was the end of the slideshow. I'm going to exit out of here, and I'm just going to jump right into Ads Manager. Actually, I'll just go to Business Manager Home first. So if you missed last week, we did a whole webinar on setting up Business Manager, adding a page to your Business Manager, and then setting up your ads account. So hopefully you were able to check that out, or you can always go back and watch those to kind of get caught up. So I'm going to kind of skip that step, obviously, for for time purposes. But so here we are, business.facebook.com. We've created our business, and we're going to talk about the Digital Service Squad one that we added last week. And I had set up an ad account for that. So I'm still here inside the Business Manager. You can see that okay. Yeah, Rochelle? My screen still flowing? Okay, good. And feel free to jump in if I miss anything, or if you're getting lost, and that would help.
The only thing that came to mind, and this is really not adding any new information, just kind of reiterating the point. So, you know, for all of you watching, if you haven't been down this road before, like if you've avoided Business Manager and Ads Manager like the plague because it just seems really scary or intimidating or whatnot, just to like put it into a new perspective for you, or I hope that I can. So Facebook has made the idea of marketing seem very, very easy, because they tout this idea of, oh, just boost your post. Like you can put a little $5 or $10 boost in there, and it's just going to solve all your problems, and that's going to be the key to your success. And that really is inaccurate, right? Like Ben has touched on it 100 times before. Like creating an effective marketing strategy really does take careful planning and you know, proof of concept, and you know, time to let that develop and grow. And while those like easy post boosts and stuff is a very convenient feature, it really is just a way for Facebook to make more money off of you without giving you anything back. So you know, I think it's absolutely fair to say that, you know, absolute best practice is, yes, like setting up your A and B campaigns. You should have different ad sets. You should have different campaigns, have multiple versions of the same ad within the same campaign. Like, yes, that is all what everyone should be striving to do. But there really is kind of a middle ground between just boosting a post blindly and creating this super intricate kind of campaign for your business and everything. So I do encourage you, like this is the next right step for any business, and it does not have to become this super overwhelming, intimidating thing. There is a way to do it successfully without becoming your own ad agency, I guess. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you. That was I think the one point you made there that really stuck out with me was boosting your post is, while it is convenient, it's not always the most effective, because it is super convenient. They made it so easy to give them your money. But with a little bit more planning and a little bit more know-how, we can put that money to really good use, and that's what we're going to do. And as an example, I walked someone through this exact same process just the other day, and he was blown away that, like, he had never even explored this, and it was actually really easy once he got his head around it, and was flabbergasted to think that, people charge so much to get this set up sometimes. So hopefully we can, empower you to feel more comfortable in this platform and to create some amazing ads. So again, we're moving ahead because I want to try and get to everything. So here you can see we're in our business manager page. Again, last week we added the DMS is the best page. Don't go looking for that, by the way. That is an unpublished page that we are using for our Digital Service Squad testing and training purposes. But at the same time, we also created our ad account for that. So if you have not created an ad account in this area, you'll just see a big thing that says you haven't added one, and you hit a button to add that. You can also do it in your business settings. But again, check out last week's webinar on our YouTube channel for all of that setup. So right now I'm going to go to my ads manager because I'm going to start setting up a campaign. And here we are back where I started. And there are no results to show because I haven't created any ads yet. Now, this is probably looking, if you haven't set foot in this platform, it's maybe looking a little daunting. And that's okay. It still is a little bit to me at times. And the first thing I will point out is that along the top, we've got these 3 tabs. We've got campaigns, we have ad sets, and we have ads. Now, this is a direct kind of visualization of the hierarchy of how your ads are created, like how that hierarchy works within Ads Manager. So it starts with campaigns at the top, being the tip of the pyramid. You create ad sets within your campaign, and then ads within ad sets. And so we're going to talk more specifically about what parameters each of those parts of the pyramid control, because then everything else will fall within that setup, right? So let's just go ahead and jump right in, create a new campaign. So again, here's that exact same image that you saw in the slideshow. And you can always hit or hover over the information button here to get a little bit more understanding of what these options mean. And as I said, we're going to do lead generation. Okay, yes. So Lori asked, why does my business manager page look completely different than yours? So that's a really good question, Lori. And I didn't realize last week that, basically Facebook is rolling out a new version of Business Manager. They're calling Facebook Business Suite. So it's essentially the exact same thing. It's just organized a little bit differently. It's more updated. And I didn't mention it before because I hadn't even really seen it before. They're kind of rolling it out in sections. And so therefore some of you might see the kind of traditional business manager. Some of you might see business suite. So basically, I mean, it's all the same tools. It's just a different look. There might be some slight differences there, but you just want to look for that Ads Manager button to bring you to your Ads Manager. We're going to create a lead generation ad today because, well, a couple of reasons. So again, conversions. If you were to select conversions, so meaning that show your ads to people who are most likely to take valuable actions, like making a purchase or adding payment info on your website, app, or in Messenger. That's great for making sales, but the setup can get a little technical as well, because sometimes there's conversion tracking that if you don't set it up, you can't publish it, because it's a required setting that has to be put in place. And so that's another reason why we're going to do lead generation, because we can get through it hopefully in the full 40 minutes that are left. And Lori's asking, the button that says ads, is that it? Yes, that should be where you're clicking to find your ads manager. Sweet. Okay, she found it. She's in. And yes, Eric's message, he said in the chat, I have the same business suite, but my ads manager is the same as yours. And that's normal. They updated ads manager first, actually. I think it was like last year or the beginning of 2020. And so I think the rollout is pretty consistent by now. So you should be seeing a very similar ads manager to what you're seeing on your screen here. So we're going to go ahead and create that lead generation ad. But I love the interactivity here. It sounds like a lot of people are following along. That's awesome. And so, yeah, lead generation, basically we're going to collect leads for your business or brand. And this is something that's really, really cool. It's kind of a new feature where we're going to actually create a form that people can fill out right in the ad to provide their name, phone number, email, whatever, in order to be, contacted by your either sales department or yourself for the purpose of, making a sale. So this is going to bring us to our new campaign setup. So we're going to name this just new lead generation form. And again, so this is our campaign setup. If you think back to when I was pointing out those tabs, these are all the settings that will control everything underneath that. So special categories, they mentioned that, if you are advertising anything related to credit, employment, housing, social issues, elections, or politics, then you need to disclose that. So mine is not going to be related to those topics. And then campaign details. So these are kind of the defaults. We've already selected lead generation as our objective. And the auction is the way in which that Facebook decides the cost of the ad. I typically just leave that just to not get too technical. And you can always show more options and add a campaign spending limit. But we can also just set up the budget as well. And it's down here. So A/B testing, if you were to do that from the start, that's where you can create that. but we're gonna skip that for now because again, just a little technical. It adds a lot more complexity for the time being. All we want to do is get an ad up and start generating some leads. And so campaign budget optimization, you can, the budget optimization will distribute your budget across ad sets to get more results depending on your delivery optimization choices and bid strategy. You can control spending on each ad set. So basically, I mean, it's if you have a huge variety of ads and you want Facebook's kind of, intelligent algorithms to figure out where best to put the money, then you can turn that on. I'm just going to leave it off. Again, just keeping things real simple and sort of at the default settings. So we're going to select our page. Where's my page? Oh. Oh, north. Huh. Okay. I don't see DMS is the best. So I'm just going to select BeFresh Media from the list. I think maybe because it's not published, it won't let me advertise that, which you need to do probably before you advertise the page. So, so now we're in ad sets. So if you think back, the parameters around the campaign, there was not much involved there from that level, but everything else will fall under those options. We're going to create our ad set. And this might be related more to the actual creative, perhaps, if you're going to run an ad, let's say with a, that's all about cats. Cats are the best. So yeah, you might have or if it's maybe perhaps like a product line that you're creating ads for, you might name it after that. You want to be kind of specific so you can see or remember, what that's about. So lead method, that we've got two choices, instant forms. And this is what's really cool. We're going to set up a form that's right in the ad. And what I like about this is that it's new enough that people are, they seem like it's still a viable option. People are still filling them out. They're not skeptical about it. They're happily inputting their information depending on, the product or the communication in the ad, of course. But that's what we're going to select. You can also select calls. So people will just call you directly from the ad, which could be cool too, if that's something that you want. You're going to select your page that you want to advertise. And yes, so the terms of service are not accepted. So because the form, we're going to add a form that's going to collect people's information. This is a new kind of, you're basically adding some functionality to your page and to your agreement with Facebook. So they have an additional terms of service that you must accept before you set up this particular type of ad. You don't have to do this for all types, just specifically the forms. So you'll have to do that. You have the option of dynamic creative. Again, this is kind of giving Facebook a little bit more control about changing elements, making decisions about what works and what doesn't. I tend to just, again, leave that off for now, keep it simple, keep a couple of default options in here. And So you can actually select some product catalogs from that you might have set up before. I'm going to skip this, but that would be for selecting actual items from your store. Again, we're going to dive into that a little bit more next week. But here's where we set up our budget. So this is really important. Obviously, you have two options when it comes to your budget: a daily budget or a lifetime budget. So obviously, you know, and just to answer someone's questions, yeah, someone's asking or mentioned they don't have the catalog section. That's okay. That the catalog is only if you have a store set up within, I guess, some of your business pages, which is interesting because I selected Be Fresh Media, but the catalog is from our DSS is the best. So don't worry if you don't see the catalog. That's only if you have a store.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was setting up the catalog, for whatever reason, it's kind of like if you have a catalog, it can be linked to any page. That's just how it's set up. So yeah, that's why it would still appear even though you're operating as Be Fresh Media, which is kind of weird, but that's all right. That's the reason why.
Right. Cool. So yeah, going back to the budget, everyone will ask, you know, what's a good budget? What do I set my budget? That's always going to depend on multiple factors. I mean, there are different ways to control your spending. So you've got your daily budget, you know, you can set it by default, it's at $20. I'd say for most, you know, small, medium-sized businesses, that can be a bit on the high side. It also can depend on your audience too, because I mean, if you're targeting a very small area, then you know, if we're just targeting like Collingwood, for example, $20 a day, Facebook is probably not even going to be able to spend that much money in such a small audience. So just it all kind of depends, and that's the thing too. I mean, you can always set the budget higher and see what Facebook is actually able to spend, or you can also just set a lifetime budget, and actually just keep, you know, with the daily budget too. It's still easy to keep track of, you know, a limit. You know, if you don't want to spend more than $200 in the month, that's also pretty easy to keep track of and manage. And, you know, I'll show you how to do that sort of as we get close to the end. But so if we select a daily budget, and I'm going to put $8 just to kind of keep it at a, you know, I would say between 5 and 15 is probably a really good sweet spot. But then another way you can control that is by setting your end date. So just so that, you know, you don't get to March and realize, oh, darn, I forgot about my ads and I've been spending $10 a day since February. That would be a bad thing if you forgot about it. So setting that end date is pretty key with your daily budget. And let's just say we're going to run it to Feb 15th. The start date, it needs to be in the future. So we'll start it tomorrow. And the end date, Feb 15th. And we're going to spend $8 a day. And if things get out of hand, we can always change that. We can always stop it. We can add more money, subtract, you know, there's a lot of ways we can control it and prevent it from getting out of hand. Because I know that, you know, that tends to be a concern for a lot of people, and understandably so. So just want to try and ease those concerns with letting you know you will still have lots of control over that. So that's the basic budget setup. Pretty simple, pretty easy. And actually, I mean, yeah, just one last point is, I could do the math on that and figure out, $8 a day until Feb 15th, and figure out exactly what my budget's going to be. Or, if I'm running for 10 days, or let's say 20 days, and I only want to spend $200, then, I can, again, just figure out what that daily rate is and punch it in there and keep an eye on it as we go. Okay. So, yes, thank you for keeping an eye on those questions, Rochelle. Much appreciated. Audience, here is where we can really gain some more control over who we're putting our ad in front of. You can actually save your audiences as well, so that when you create new ads, new campaigns, you can just select the audience and make the process that much quicker. So that's awesome. And I'll show you how you can do that. So it starts with your location. So by default, it is advertising to all of Canada. And so I will also direct your attention up over to the right-hand side where we can see audience definition. And it's got a little gauge here ranging from specific to broad. And our potential reach is at 25 million people. And it's giving us our estimated daily results. And those daily results are based on the budget that we've punched in to those fields. So you can see as we make changes to these settings over here, you're going to see these numbers change, probably decrease quite a bit because my guess is like you might not be wanting to advertise to all of Canada. And what's cool is, so you have different options. When you select a location, you can select people living in this location or recently living in or recently in this location, people just living in this location, people recently in this location, people traveling in this location. So, oh my goodness, think about the possibilities there, even with that option. Are you targeting residents? I mean, right now is maybe not the best time to target travelers, but you have some options there. So, for tourism industry, this is kind of key, as people in a pre-COVID world, let's say, as people travel around and visit a location, then you can specifically target those individuals. So for the purpose of this, let's select just the default living in or recently in this location. And we're going to select, we're going to search locations here. We're going to go Clearview, Ontario, and it gives you all the options. I want Clearview, Ontario, township. What? Oh, Clearview is a town. Come on. I was trying to just not select Collingwood as the default, trying to spread the love here. Township. Yeah. Clearview town. Okay, it doesn't like that selection. Sorry, Clearview. Folks, let's just go Creemore. Creemore, Ontario, in Clearview Township. And it gives us a map, drops a pinpoint, and draws a big circle around it. And you can customize the span of that circle, the diameter. Do you want 17 miles? Do we want to encompass bury in that by going a little bit wider, or do we want to keep it really narrow? Keep it real narrow like that. So like 11 miles. And now you can see that our audience definition has dropped down to 41,000 people. And I'm getting a warning here that ad set may get 0 leads. So basically, my audience is not big enough to generate the leads that I need, or to it's basically just not going to perform very well. So we want to think about expanding that audience. So for this purpose, I'm going to just put in I'm going to put in all of Ontario. Let's say that. Ontario, Canada. I'm going to select the whole province. So there we go, 9.7 million people. And there's our estimated results. Less than 10 leads per day, which is still, could be pretty lucrative, depending on what you're actually selling. Okay, so we'll set that at Ontario. We're going to edit our demographic, our age range. Let's say you're selling, I don't know, life insurance or something, and you really want to target the 30 to 45-year-olds or something. I don't know why. Oh, look at that. But again, make it 0 leads. But this is, this is thinking of your daily quota, which, some things may not get a lead every day, but perhaps by expanding our audience, we can appease Facebook and and keep our options open. So you can select down to gender, male, female, other, just male, female, all. Let's keep it at all for this purpose. And detailed targeting. So here's something really interesting as well, where you can actually kind of tap into everything that Facebook knows about you, or it knows about us in general, which as you start typing, you might realize like, wow, this is creepy how much they know about us. But as a marketer, you will probably appreciate how much Facebook knows about its users, because if we go edit and we're going to search for some detailed targeting. So you can search for what people might have listed as like their job, what their interests are, their hobbies, behaviors. There's a whole bunch of criteria that you can search for and add to their hiking. Let's just see. Hiking employment. There's not very many people who work in the lucrative industry of hiking, but as an interest, hiking trails, it gives us an audience size there and a description, and we can select that. So if you were, I don't know, a hiking consultant, you wanted to capture some leads, that could be something there. I'm sorry if my examples really are terrible. Rochelle, you're going to say something.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, so this part, if you've been watching me in this webinar, and who wouldn't be really, but anyway, this is the part that is so exciting for me as an ad creator and marketer and everything, because this is where all of that great business building comes into play. Tapping into the psychographics of your unique target market is an art form in and of itself, and you really can think outside the box with this detailed targeting. So for example, I've run a lot of ads for my theater company, like for shows that I've had on the go. Now the thing about it is, in terms of like regular theater goers in this geographical area, that's a very narrow market. Like by comparison, there just aren't that many people who are regularly investing in live performance, specifically theater performances. And I was very aware of that. So it was like, well, I don't want to waste my money. I don't want to waste my time with this ad targeting the same, 1,000 people over and over and over again, right? So what I was really able to break into is the behavior around that. So people who go to the theater, sometimes they're going for the social aspect. So they're people who love to go to breweries. They love wine and spirits. They love dining out at nice restaurants and everything. My shows are like my whole bag is kind of like out of the box, like I sort of like really unique experiences and everything. So people who like escape rooms or enjoy like live art installations and that sort of stuff. People who are really into politics and that sort of thing. So don't limit your own creativity this way. Like the people who are coming to you and using your services and using your products and everything, and you don't need to kind of like put yourself into that box when it comes to this targeting. Of course, there's always a trade-off. Like you still want it to be specific enough that it's going to perform well. You don't want to be, targeting people who are just like never going to be interested in you, but you really can sort of like play with this particular section. Yeah.
Very good point. Yeah. And Eric asks, I've used Google Trends to see who is searching to find my ideal matches. But is there another website that will give us a better understanding of our target market? That's an awesome question. My suggestion there would be there's probably no better resource than your actual target market or some of your best customers, let's say. So if you were to put out a survey or, start just running, like little questionnaires and see what other content might be performing within your marketing, or maybe if you have a blog, whatever, like start trying to leave some of those breadcrumbs around. Survey, is one of the best things to do too. With, if you did like a giveaway, fill out the survey. But certainly, any external source is going to kind of provide you still with very general knowledge. Whereas if you start asking, some of your best customers, that's going to be the best direct information source that you can ever find, right? So that would be my suggestion for that. And then Jan also is asking gender selection. If the past results show 90% female, would you select only female on the future ads if the same product or service is being offered to obtain better ROI on your spend? So basically, I guess you've run an ad before, you've seen that the response has been 90% female. Would you only select female audience moving forward? Probably. I mean, what you could do is do different ads. So if 90% of if 90% of your audience responding is female, then it could just mean that the messaging is not resonating with your male audience. There's still that option that there could be just a different way to speak to that male audience for yourself, whatever your product is. I don't know, but something to keep in mind. So I wouldn't just write them off. I would, consider maybe there's another way to approach them. And that goes for kind of any demographic, right? Not just gender, but age. Certainly, there's different ways to appeal to younger versus older audiences. Yeah, it's all about how you speak to them and connect with them. Cool. I'm loving all the questions, guys. Keep them coming. And so, yeah, lastly, just I think Rochelle kind of she mentioned this, just to reiterate, like the interests and the detailed targeting is awesome, but try not to limit yourself. If you don't have that really thorough understanding of what interests your audience have, then you might just leave it blank, because if you just put in like one interest or hobby, then as Rochelle mentioned, it'll make your audience just way too small. It'll really narrow them down, and we can always make adjustments as we go, refine, and try and figure out what are those interests. And so, just a point too, you can also exclude some of those interests or hobbies. So if there's something that really is not part of your audience, an interest or hobby, you can pull it right out. Sweet. I'm just sorry, I just saw another question. I'm not sure. Jan says we ran 20 different ads in 10 different regions of Ontario. Let me know if there's a question attached to that. I'm not sure if there is, or that was just a response to what we talked about earlier. Oh, wow, we're already at 10 to 11. We gotta keep plugging forward. Okay. So placements, as I mentioned earlier, there are different placements, networks, Instagram, Messenger, Facebook, whatever network they had. You can manually select what those are, and you can do that here. Audience network, Messenger, Instagram. You can select all of these different options: placements, in-stream, search, messages, in-article. Whew, it's a lot. So that's why I would just recommend going automatic placements. And optimization and delivery. So Facebook will aim to spend your entire budget and get the most leads using the lowest cost bid strategy. If you want to set up a cost control, enter an amount. So that's the limit on, so if we selected the auction strategy, it's asking if you want to set a limit on that. But it's not going to exceed your budget. I would just say, leave this blank for now, and see how your ad starts performing. More options include when you get charged, and delivery type being standard. I don't have time to elaborate on that. So we're going to hit next. Basically, everything's filled out here on the ad groups. They're the ad set, excuse me. And so now we're going to create the ad, and here is what we want to do, or where we want to do that. So we're going to create a cats #1, because we're going to make multiple ads. And I was helping someone else out, and we've got some creative there. So identity, I already selected the page within the ad set, so it's already pulled it up. If you've connected your Instagram account, it will automatically connect it there. Yeah, it should just be automatically connected if you've done that. Ad setup. So single image or video. This is a really great thing as well, where I'm going to show you how to create a video ad in Facebook with just a couple of still images, and and options there. So what it's done is that you might also see something similar where it's pulling in, it's pulling assets from either your page or from things you've already uploaded. So what we're going to do is we're going to clear all. There we go. Okay, so we're going to add media. So we're starting from a blank slate here. We're going to add media. Of course, I didn't think to have anything ready here. Account images. What do I got here? Nothing. Instagram. There we go. Okay. So this is really cool. You can pull right from your Instagram. You can pull from your business page, whatever. It's awesome. You can upload from your computer. And so I'm going to, hey, I got a picture of a turtle here. Even though I selected cats, I got this ad is making less and less sense. So you can crop the image, vertical, horizontal, square, and it's going to show you the different options. This particular one, so you can drag and recenter them for the different placement so that they just, work a little bit better in those formats. So we've got our picture. Oops. And so we're creating the ad. You can always edit that photo, whatever you like. And I think I wanted to, one sec, I'm going to clear again. So, right, I want to create the video. It's right here. You can create a slideshow or a video. That's what I wanted. But I've pulled in my image, so it still has my turtle. And so this is really cool. These are video ads that are created again from just like simple elements that you're uploading. And these are just different templates for that ad, and we can customize how they look. So I'm just going to select one that I like. I'm going to say, yes, that one looks great. It's got nice brown color there. And you can change that. You can change those different elements and the color, the text within that. And once you've customized that, you can even add stickers. It's crazy cool. I'm going to say, let's use that video. And this is what we're going to use. And it takes 30 seconds. Okay. So while that's still creating the video, we're going to go ahead and enter our primary text. And so this is what shows up sort of in your description, or your kind of where your post would be, your post copy. Headline is down below next to the button. You can see that show up right there in our preview window. The description. Turtles are the best. That's going to show up underneath the headline. Again, at the bottom, next to the button. You can then add the link where you want that to go, which is optional. Again, if we're just doing a form for people to fill out, you might not want to actually send them anywhere. But we're going to say, book now. And then we're going to actually create the form. And this is cool too. It's really easy to select all of the questions that we ask people. You can send people to your privacy statement and customize the text. Thank you for filling out this form. We'll be in touch in 24 to 48 hours. Whatever you like. You're going to customize all of that and publish. Oh, and it doesn't like any of that. I'm going to save as a draft because I have to actually enter the text in there. Maybe I just need to add title. So once you've actually created that, filled it out, you'll be able to select it here from the list. If you create multiple forms, you'll see all of those. You can select which one you want for each individual ad. And then we've got tracking. I'm going to have to skip over that because we're really strapped for time here. We got to wrap up soon. This stuff is all pretty optional. You can create a Facebook pixel to track or create website events, in Pixel to just track the actions that people might be taking on your website and retarget those people with additional advertising. We're going to skip it for now. And we're going to hit publish. I don't think it's going to let me publish. It will. So Canadian dollar, Canada is where we're doing it. America time zone, New York. And we're going to continue. And then it's going to make sure that you put in your payment information. I'm not going to do that. We also walked you through that in last week's webinar, how to get when you set up your ad account, they're also going to ask you for your payment information. But we're going to skip that for now. So basically, once you've published it, once you've put in your credit card information, there will be a short review period and your ad will be up and running. And so now back in our ads manager, we can see our cats campaign, our cats ad, our campaign new lead generation form is right there. We can see all the ad sets within that campaign, and we can see any ads here. Now, what's really cool, if you hover over that ad, we can hit duplicate, and that would be the easiest way to duplicate your ad into your existing lead generation form, into your ad set, and we can say duplicate. And it's going to spit you out here where you can then again customize. You can make any changes to that copy of the ad, and then hit publish, and away you go. And again, I'm going to exit out of there, close. So now I got two of them, presumably one slightly different than the other. I may have, made some adjustments to the creative, some of the wording, and then I can scroll across here, and this is where I'll be able to see, okay, how is it performing? We've got results, reach, impressions, cost per result. So that's going to be tied directly to your form based on your ad spend. If you spend $10 and you get one form filled out, one lead from that, then it'll be $10 per result. Makes sense? And you've also got your quality ranking, engagement rate ranking, conversion rate ranking, amount spent, and then the end date. Now, amount spent, again, here's where you can just keep track of how much you are spending. I want to point out that up here, you'll see a date span. So this is really important, where I've had this problem too before, where I thought I was not spending very much, but because the date span was only showing me a short period of time. So it wasn't, if my campaign runs 2 months, and I want to keep track of that spending, I want to make sure that I'm looking at that data in my ads manager. And you can just, it works like Google Analytics. Just select, start December 1st or this is just our reporting data to today's date. Oops. December 1st to January 20th, update it. And then you would see, everything you've spent in that period of time. So something important to keep in mind. And then the last thing I just want to point out is that your leads, they can now be found on your Facebook page. So when you go into your Facebook page, you'll see a new tab in your menu called Leads, and you can click on that and you'll be able to see any of the leads that came in. And Jan asks, selecting Facebook and Instagram, does it make sense to target both with your ad, or is it better to select one over the other? That's a really good question. And I would suggest maybe, some of the considerations there might be the format of your creative. Like, is it square? Is it vertical? Or do you want more horizontal? And that's where selecting the automatic placements can just make it easier to let Facebook determine where your ad should go. It will determine that based on the format of the ad that you create, but you also want to think about your audiences as well. So you could, if you have questions about is my ad performing better on Facebook versus Instagram, try testing it. Run the same ad just on Facebook network and one ad just on Instagram and see how they do. Okay, I think that is all I want to say right now about Facebook Ads Manager. If your head is spinning a little bit, again, perfect opportunity to follow up with a digital, with a meeting, a consult with your digital service squad. And we can, keep this conversation going, essentially. Keep working on creating better ads in Facebook Ads Manager. Did I miss anything, Rochelle? We're a little over time. But thanks for everyone.
I think that's good. I was just responding to Eric. How can people find previous webinars?
Oh, yes. Good question. So this one, as well as all of our previous webinars, will be up on our YouTube channel, Small Business Enterprise Center, the South Georgian Bay Small Business Enterprise Center. If you search for that on YouTube, you will be able to find it pretty easily. Perfect. Well, I think we'll end it there, just because we are over time. So again, thanks everyone for joining us. We didn't lose that many people, so that's awesome. It was awesome to, hopefully have everyone follow along there, and I hope you learned something. And definitely get in touch with more support while we're here, your digital service squad. So until next week, by the way, next week is again Facebook shop, setting up your Facebook shop, and we'll talk a little bit about advertising those products. So you can register for that for free at enterprisecenter.ca. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you soon. We'll see you soon. Bye.